Welcome everybody to Evening Crossover, a new episode. It's been a month. Apologize right off the bat here. It's just a lot of things going on my end, changing jobs, so in my personal a little busy. But we got a lot of things going on in the background for Fanboys Incorporated and CaposCrusader.org. So much stuff to go on. I can't to tell you guys. I can't tell you right now, but there's going on right now. So we apologize for the lack of podcast last month. And I was just saying off pod that to my my co-host, I've had Josh Epstein withdrawals, but we're taking care of that right now.
You're so sweet.
Yeah, so sitting across from me via Skype is my co-host and creator of CablesCrusader.org, Mr. Josh Epstein.
Hey, everybody. It's good to be back. I've been going through withdrawals myself, like not getting to hear your dulcet tones every week. But no, I mean if you've been following us on Twitter, you know what we're planning on talking about today. But it was kind of like a no-brainer when I was watching the Colbert Report on Thursday night that I was like,
I thought you were going to say The View.
No. I for some reason I just can't manage to get into that show, really. No, I was watching Colbert, and I'm like, okay, yeah, we're going to have to do a podcast this week. I was immediately chatting up with you. I'm like, dude, we got to find a time. We got to find a time.
What Josh is alluding to is the announcements, and it seems the trend is let's announce stuff before San Diego Comic-Con, which is this weekend. And Marvel's definitely gotten a jump on that with their properties and announced on the Colbert Report of a change for the shield welder for Captain America.
Yes, I mean, now just to preface this is not the first time somebody besides Steve Rogers has been Captain America.
Of course.
And we'll go into some more details about that later, but they announced that Sam Wilson, a.k.a. the Falcon, who, if you're one of those people that doesn't read comics and just watches the movies, he was the guy in the movie, is going to be the new Captain America. Now, you're probably a little bit more caught up on what's been going on with Captain America. Like, Colbert gave it the crazy convoluted rundown on how we got to this point with Steve Rogers. Hopefully you can give me a little bit more insight. But me, I thought that the move was really cool.
Yeah, I mean, sidekick turning hero, which seems to be the norm. We've seen that with Bucky Barnes. He's the one who's held the shield before, and now he is his own hero or anti-hero, as you might want to put him, with the Winter Soldier.
Well, and when they were doing that story, when they did the death of Captain America, there was a lot of speculation that Sam might be, the one to pick up the shield. There were a lot of possibilities. You had Hawkeye running around, possibly going to be picking up the shield. The Punisher was one possibility.
Oh my God!
All of whom, they have their own attachments to Captain America. But other than Bucky, who, besides being dead for like 70 years, is Captain America's oldest running partner. But I mean, the Falcon has been Captain America's not sidekick but partner for the better part of the last 40 years.
I don't know. I'm sorry. He's his sidekick. Until recently, he has never been that A-lister hero, and I feel that the movies
But even from the beginning, they called him his partner.
I know.
They never, in the pages of the comics, they called him his partner, never his sidekick.
I don't care. It's his sidekick. It was a polite way. It was.
When I think sidekick, I think Robin, and good blow, old chum. That was never going on with Steven.
Why I say sidekick is because the Falcon. Don't get me wrong. I've always loved the Falcon when I was a kid, and to this day, he wasn't that A-lister. He may have been. He's not the same age as Steve Rogers. Obviously, Steve Rogers is older than hell, but he wasn't. On the same par as Steve Rogers. Saying he's his partner, I mean, you could say Robin, the newest Robin incarnations could be Batman's partner. I mean, he's just younger. I just feel that the word sidekick meant that it's a point where he wasn't, he's not an A-lister. He's a B or C-lister. He's not a main hero recently, and that's why I said sidekick. Nothing to take away from him because he's been with Captain America for years. I just don't feel me personally, I don't feel that he's on par with Captain America throughout.
Well, we're about to see whether or not
he can
handle the big shoes. I mean, I saw the promo art. I actually put an article up on Fanboys Inc. about 20, 30 minutes after it broke on Colbert. Yes. Got lucky. I happened to be getting off work and watching Colbert, and like my relief comes up. Like, I have to go. I have to write things on the internet now.
I think we might have been one of the I think we beat the big couple too on this one. This one,
I actually know that we beat Newsarama to press on that story. I don't know about CBR. I think we might have beaten CBR too, but it was close. But I like the look that they're going with for him. If you haven't had a chance to check out promotional art and you're listening to this, you should go over to fanboysinc.com. We've got that piece up there. They're sort of blending the Captain America costume with a couple elements from the Falcon costume and also elements from when he was Rogers' Shield, and sort of mashing that all up into one. I mean, it looks a little busy in some ways, but I love that they're keeping the wings.
Well, I have to say, hold on a second, because and when I saw that header image, I was on the article. All right, Falcon's got the shield. We were in the red, white, and blue, and now we have the wings. Now, I don't know if that's going to stay, Josh, because the article by Joshua Lazarus puts out the Avengers Now #1, which goes right into our topic of Marvel changes. The entire Avengers team has changed. His costume has no wings, and it's different than the header image that we have seen originally. So I'm wondering what's going to happen with that.
Well, I think they're going to keep those wings. Remender has said online and various social media that flying will be a part of the new Captain America fighting style. Okay. So I think it's probably more along the lines of what we saw in the movie. Those wings, aren't always out.
Right.
You can sort of retract them and store them, which makes sense. You want to fly around, kick some ass in the air, land, stow your wings, and then beat some ass hand to hand.
That's going to show some real cool shield movements. I'm telling you, that for me is going to be really cool. Seeing him flying and throwing the shield. Now, let's talk about, is he going to be as good as Steve Rogers throwing the shield? I mean, let's be honest.
I can't imagine that he will be. I can't imagine that he will be at first.
Right.
And if Remender is smart, he's going to talk about that growth process for Sam getting used to using this shield, because. And maybe somebody gives him some crap about it. You're not very good with that thing. He's like, I get that, but I'm Captain America now, and Captain America uses shield.
Right.
That's just how it works.
Let's talk about the fact of him being black. We've talked about diversity within comics, and it's been going on now more so in the last year, maybe possibly 2 years, with characters, Captain Marvel, and to name a few more that. Is this for shock value, or is it the fact that it really doesn't matter if he's black?
I really don't think it's so much for shock value. Okay. If I had to guess where this was coming from, you look at the sales in the Captain America book, they haven't been that great.
Nope.
The story has gotten kind of ill, from what I understand, and reading various reviews that have come through. And they're looking for a way to shake things up, not too dissimilar from Spider-Man before they did the Superior Spider-Man run. We'll get to the superior side of these changes in a minute, but if you're looking at changing up Captain America, you can do a couple of different things. They tried, putting him off in World Z or whatever, Dimension Z.
Yeah, right.
That didn't work that great. You could try doing throwback stories, World War II stories, but they've done that, and it hasn't traditionally worked very well in terms of boosting sales. You could kill him, which they've already done that.
Right.
Or you could find a different way of shaking things up. So from what I understand, this method that they've used is aging Steve Rogers by removing the super soldier serum from his bloodstream, which is weird because I kind of thought they did that back in the 80s, and Steve didn't immediately get old. But that's just a weird thing to me.
Right.
And instead of killing him, changing the setting, you transform the role into more of a legacy role. I'm going to be curious to see what Steve's role is in this title moving forward. The cynics will say that obviously this change is going to be reset about 6 to 7 months from now in time for Avengers 2 to come out.
Of course. Just like Spider-Man.
I don't necessarily know if that'll be the case.
I gotta agree. I mean, they did the same thing with Spider-Man. They changed it right before they brought Peter Parker back, right before the release of Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, but who knows what might happen in Avengers 2?
True, and we've seen other people weld the shield, and so and hold the shield. So this is not for shock value, and this is not something new. So, can we really say to shake things up? I mean, is
I think
the same old storyline?
It's obviously a shakeup. It's obviously
but it's the same storyline. It's the same thing. We've seen Captain America under different people numerous times in the past. Is this really a shakeup? I mean,
how long has it been? How long has it been now since Steve took the shield back from Buffy?
Bucky. Buffy. Well, no, that would be a shakeup. A little vampire hunter.
You want to talk about somebody who could be an awesome Captain America? I would vote Buffy Summers for Captain America.
Oh, that's a shakeup. Remender, are you listening to this? Put Buffy in there. Fine. I don't know how the rights would work. Just figure it out.
I'm just messed up. I watched the episode of Smallville last night where they did vampires and they had some character named Buffy Sanders. I'm like, really, BB? That's not even that subtle.
It's been a while. I mean, we've had U.S. Agent as well, and Bucky.
If we could go all the way back, I mean, Steve winds up frozen. He winds up a capsicle, as Tony calls him, in 1945.
Yeah.
If we think about what's been retconned in as far as canon now, there was a different Captain America in the 50s.
Yes.
Who went nuts.
Yep.
Steve got thought out somewhere in the 60s, based on the sliding timeline. Maybe who knows? It's Marvel. Time is weird.
Yeah.
Got ticked off at the president and Congress somewhere in the 70s and gave it up and became Nomad.
Yep.
And that's when Jack Walker took over. So that's the third person to wield the shield.
Yep.
Then he was Captain America. He was basically Captain America solid through from the early 80s all the way until he died.
Correct, and then we had the U.S. Agent and that whole storyline going on.
Right, and then it was sort of the battle for the shield, and which led to Bucky being the new Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 5, and now Steve. I can never remember the cap of the 50s name. So we had Steve, Cap of the 50s, Jack Walker, Steve, and then Bucky and Sam. So this would be the 5th person to wield the Captain America shield, if we're not counting the actual first Captain America, which is something that kind of a lot of people immediately went to social media. One of the funnier things I saw when this news first broke was people saying Sam Wilson's the first black Captain America, and I think it might have even been Ron Mars was like, "Don't make me go to my long boxes." I'm not sure if it was.
I love Ron. Holy shit.
But what a lot of people don't know, because a lot of people didn't read that story, and I actually have it sitting on my computer right now. They did a great 7-issue series called Captain America: Red, White, and Black.
Yep.
And they in a very dark sort of way point out that the odds of the government testing some experimental drug on a white kid from Brooklyn first was not what would have happened.
No, definitely not.
You look at things like the Tuskegee experiments. They were going to test that on an African American first. And that's exactly what they do. They test it on 4 different guys, 3 of whom it doesn't turn out very well on. They have horrible reactions to early versions of the super soldier serum. But then the 4th one, it actually works on Isaiah Bradley. And they lie to him. They tell him, "Oh yeah, you're gonna get to go be Captain America," and then they try to make him not Captain America, and he's like, "No, I'm Captain America." He takes the uniform out of the truck and goes out and starts beating up on Nazis.
Yeah, stop me if you want.
Exactly. You're not
How are you gonna stop him?
This guy.
You just gave him super soldier serum. You're gonna stop him.
And there's an ongoing legacy. Isaiah is still alive in the current Marvel continuity, or he may have died recently. Now that I think about that.
Interesting.
I haven't been tracking that very closely, but when they show him as very similar to Muhammad Ali. That over time, that early version of the super soldier serum has sort of degraded his mind. He still understands what's going on, but can't speak very clearly, can't move that well anymore. But he's still around, and his grandson, and I can't remember his name now, but is running around as Patriot.
Mm-hmm.
And he was for a while dosing on stuff that sort of simulated the super soldier serum.
And he was one of the people that people had speculated that possibly and he Young Avengers, Avengers Academy, that he would be the next person to hold the shield.
Well, and that was a couple of people brought that up on social media when this broke. Saying why not give it to him? And my thought on it, he's still too new. He's still too new, not as a character because he's been around for like 5 or 6 years now.
Right.
But he's too young. The character himself is still in his late teens, maybe his early 20s if you're pushing it.
Josh, now that would be a story. Somebody who's held up with the responsibility of being Captain America and being 18, I find that more of a dynamic story of the responsibilities and the figurehead and holding up America's.
But the thing is, I don't think he gets that yet.
No, but that would be a great dynamic story.
You're right. You could make that a good story, but I feel like Captain America is one of those roles that you have to understand it to hold it. That's always been the sort of problem with some of these other people that have taken it on. I mean, Bucky struggled with it. He wasn't ready to be an icon because he's an assassin. He's a spy.
Right.
He's a soldier. He's not a leader. He's not the number one guy. He really can't do that. Sam, I think for Sam the struggle will be understanding what the role means. He understands what the role means better than I think just about anybody else in the Marvel universe who's connected to Captain America.
I think it's going to be his confidence level is going to be like, oh my god, oh my god.
It's going to be, does he feel like he is doing it right? And I think that's actually a really interesting story to tell right now.
It is.
Is this guy who understands what it means to be Captain America?
But can he fill the shoes?
Can he fill the shoes, and can he do this part justice? And can he really honor Steve's legacy enough? I think somebody like Patriot would have just gotten caught up in the "I'm Captain America, I'm awesome," and then got his ass kicked, and then been like, "I'm not so awesome."
But I'm thinking getting our younger readers involved and getting the not the morals, but the ideology of being America and figuring out what it is to be at the end of the story. Now he knows what it is not only to be Captain America but a hero. And I see that as such a dynamic story. So many things could happen there that would be amazing. Not to say that the Sam Wilson, Wilson storyline is not going to be amazing. I mean, I'm going to start picking it up. I haven't read Captain America since I started collecting 2.5, 3 years ago. So, I mean, I've kept up in the storylines pretty much, and especially now currently how Steve Rogers has lost his super soldier serum. But we want to focus on you and I have talked on Infinite Crossover pods past, ain't even on Inkcast. Getting younger readers in. You got an 18-year-old hero trying to find himself. He is part of the Captain America legacy, sort of. What a great way to bring in a younger hero who's trying to find his way, and then getting that responsibility, and he's going to use it like I think what you were trying to say was, hey, I'm Captain America. You know what? Go screw off. I can do whatever I want. I am the man. But then he realizes that's the wrong attitude. I'm getting my ass kicked.
Well, if they're smart, I think they will pull him in
right
to this narrative a little bit. I mean, it would make a lot of sense for if Sam is going to take on this role, Sam probably understands too that Captain America has typically worked best with a partner.
Yeah,
I could easily see him reaching out to Patriot and saying, hey, come work with me, and maybe they butt heads on, why did you get to be Captain America? I should be Captain America.
Take him under his wing.
You've been running around with red wings for years. I've been running around with the stars and stripes on my chest.
Take him under his wing, no pun intended, kind of thing. That would be a cool storyline as well.
Yeah, and I think that there would be some interesting things they could do there. And I hope that I mean. Not that I want to see this book become a 100% commentary on race, but I feel like there would be a really good opportunity too for Sam to honor Isaiah Bradley in what he's doing here, and I hope that there's references to that in Remender's work. Maybe somebody in an interview asks Sam Wilson what it's like to be the first black Captain America, and he can be like, I'm not.
Right, exactly, and give homage back. What did I want to ask you? With him being black, do you think we're going to get into some social, economic, and political issues with him now?
It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, not that I think that that'll be a focus, but Rick Remender doesn't seem to fear anybody.
No, he doesn't. He really doesn't get.
He really
doesn't give a shit.
No,
he's gonna do what he does.
Which you kind of have to do. You kind of have to do as a writer. Like, you can cripple yourself by trying to please everybody, or you can say, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna write a great story.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know, considering the man, how many death threats the man got on Superior Spider-Man, right, and how awesome that story turned out to be,
with Dan Slott, yeah,
he has kind of earned a couple. I mean, he should just walk around, you know, like I'm thinking Artie, the Morlock from the X-Men.
Yes.
He has those little images of that float above his head of what he's thinking. Yeah. Rick Remender should be just two middle fingers floating above his head, being like, doo-doo-doo,
yeah, exactly.
doing what I want.
Agree. I hope it isn't. I'll be honest. I hope it's not the diversity kick, because I think right now that's overplayed. And I understand, and we've talked about this on Infinite Crossover. But now, is it really showing diversity? It's just overplayed at this point. It's been done. It's enough. If they're gonna
I don't think it'll be enough until they actually get to where the rosters do look like the census, you know. And that seems to be where they're trying to head. Like, you and I talked as we were prepping for this about when we look at the full roster for All New Avengers #1.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It is. Like, it's easily. I think it's probably the most diverse-looking team that I have seen since the Perez and Wolfman Teen Titans.
I agree. Totally.
And it looks fantastic. You've got so many awesome stories you can tell in there. You've got two characters who are new to their roles in the new Thor, which we'll talk about that here in the new Thor and the new Captain America.
You got Angela in there as well.
You got Angela in there. Who all else is in there? I don't have the picture up here in front of me.
You have Sam Wilson. You have Angela. You have the new unknown hero that is Thor. Let me talk. And I believe the new Iron Man.
Well, there's more besides that too, though. Doc Strange. Isn't Doc Strange in that roster?
Who's going to be the leader? Let's talk about that for a quick second. Now,
it's got to be Iron Man.
It doesn't. Why can't it be Doc Strange?
I mean, I suppose it could, but it doesn't really look like it from the posing on that, because he's off center. I mean,
Iron Man's not dead center either.
Yeah, but he's kind of above everybody.
Yeah. Well, so is Doc Strange. Let's be honest.
Okay.
You know, I think. I mean, listen. Doc Strange has started the Defenders. Granted, they're sorry, Doc Strange, but they were B-rated superhero team. But he's coming into Phase 3 for movies. We've seen how these things seem to pair up or match a little bit when they're going into the movies and they're going into the comics. I could see Doc Strange putting this team together. I mean, it's such a diverse team. I'm going to say right now, within the first 6-issue arc, it's going to be angst. There's not going to be a team play going on at all here. You have an unknown Thor, a woman who we have no idea who it is. You have Angela, who's really still pissed about being pulled from her universe into this universe, has really no idea going on. You have Doc Strange. You got a new Tony Stark, or not a new Tony Stark, but Tony Stark who just unleashed extremists to the public, and he's dealing with his own stuff. There's going to be a lot of angst between these players, and there's going to be a lot of non-team play going on. I mean, you've
got two Illuminati.
Yeah.
And you've got Sam Wilson. I mean, obviously, I think you look at that roster, Sam is the tactician of that roster.
Yes, I agree. Totally agree.
But it's a very magic-heavy Avengers team.
Could this be a hint of movies? Could this be a hint of what Marvel's doing with Phase 3? Now,
it would be really interesting, and this was brought up. I mean, both Anthony Mackie, the specifics aren't out there, but I went out and immediately did some research as soon as this news came out. Anthony Mackie is the actor who plays the Falcon in the Marvel movies. Correct. And while they don't ever tell you specifically how many movies he signed for, he puts it as a whole lot. Like, he has a long-term deal.
So let's give him a 3 to 4 movie deal.
I think
you think it's 6?
When he's talking about Sebastian Stan, the actor who plays Bucky,
yes,
had a 9-picture deal.
Yeah, and we still don't know if that's 100% confirmed, do we?
No. That's 100%. Like, he has a 9-picture deal with Marvel. Now
that's a 9. Wait a minute, Josh. That's a 9-appearance deal.
Right.
That doesn't mean. Looks like Ruffalo has 6 appearance deal of the Hulk, and he already used up one of them for a post clip.
Right, right. But so when you're talking that Sebastian Stan's going to be around he's going to show up in at least 9 movies, and Anthony Mackie's talking about a long deal, you have to think that it's got to be something similar to that. I could easily see them duking it out for the right to be Captain America at some point soon. Okay. We know that Chris Evans wants to go to directing. We know that he is kind of over being in front of the camera.
Let me add something. Well, let me add something to that, because we did talk about that in Inkcast a few times. He said if he wants to, the only way he could see himself acting is as long as he stays with Marvel. And then add to what you were just saying, if not, I'm going to directing. You know what I'm saying? He'd rather stay in the Marvel universe as an actor, and if not, then he really wants to go into producing and directing.
Right.
So, but I see him. We just noticed too. Now they're pushing 2019. They've already given out movies ready for 2019. Marvel is going nuts with this and planning out so far ahead. I see Evans not directing or producing his own movie for a long time. They're going to keep him locked. I see him being locked for a long time.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. And I think that they're positioning themselves to have some comics backing up any moves they might make.
Correct. Yeah, I agree.
Obviously, Sebastian Stan as Bucky gives you insurance. You know that you can go one direction if you can't re-sign Chris Evans' contract disputes, whatever. You can kill him off in his next appearance,
right,
and have Bucky take over the Shield, and then say that doesn't happen for a little further down the road, and maybe you can't get Sebastian Stan back, or maybe you want to do some standalone Winter Soldier stuff, which, by the way, I think would be awesome.
I think that'd be great. I don't think general public would buy the deal, but I think it still would.
Oh, are you kidding me? Set it in the '60s, like this
nice
the
period
Winter Soldier
piece?
series, the Winter Soldier series they've been doing.
Okay.
Give me some James Bond aesthetic to it. Like make him He would be like an anti-hero version of James Bond set in the '60s.
Who would you give him as a villain? Who would be his villain though?
The original Baron Zemo.
Okay. All right. I like this. I kind of got a little goosebumps on that. I do like that. Okay.
Have him pair up with a young black actor playing a young Nick Fury.
Okay. I like that.
Maybe it's young Nick Fury going and trying to find the Winter Soldier. I don't know. You could do a lot of things with that. The series, The Winter Soldier: The Long March, has been really good.
Yes, I have to get to it. I hear that it's been amazing. So
it's really solid. If you've been up on other Marvel stuff, you'll find some of it spoiled for you.
Okay.
But it's still really good on its own right. But anyway,
I wanted to get back to the Image for the Avengers. I have dead center. We have the new unknown woman, Thorette, as I like to call her. We have Angela.
I'll go with Lady Thor. How about that?
Lady Thor. Okay. We have
Lady Sif.
Yeah. Okay. Going left, we have Angela, Winter Soldier, Medusa. Very interesting to have an Inhuman coming into the fact of the Avengers, now thinking that possibly because of what's going on in
the Inhumans are Marvel Studios' New Mutants.
True, correct, and with the Terrigen Mist going on and what's going on in the comic universe, a good addition, I think, to find out what's going on. Going right over the top, going left to right, we got Scarlet Witch. Great addition. She is maybe trying to redeem herself coming into the group. I mean, she is one of the not founding members, but one of the original Avengers. Then you have Iron Man dead center. Overhead, like you were saying, we have Doc Strange, Ant-Man, the ABC version of Deathlock, which I can't stand. And who is this guy in flames? He looks like a thin Hulk on fire. Who would that be? Would that be Johnny Storm?
I don't know. That's really weird.
Yeah, so I'm not sure who this is because he's got no insignia. Johnny Storm obviously is not wearing Hulk ripped pants. So I'm wondering if this is
maybe it's Red Hulk?
Too thin, too small.
Too small.
Real too small. He's small. He's crouched down a little bit, but he's smaller than Sam Wilson. So I'm not sure. As far as the group as a whole, I have to agree with you. It is very eclectic, very diverse, and like I said, just looking at this image, you know some shit's going to go down. Somebody's going to take over, and now we know if from the image, obviously we would say Tony Stark's going to be the leader. I want to say maybe Doc Strange, but somebody's going to be asserting themselves and telling them, who are you, Stark? Why are you the one who lead this? Until we figure out how the story goes together.
His answer will probably always be what it always is, which is I pay the bills.
Yeah. So we don't know until we see who actually forms the team. Actually, when you form the team, you're kind of leader by association. You're the one who called everybody together.
That's how it goes back to even Civil War days. If you rounded up a regiment of soldiers,
it was yours.
It was yours. You get to be the colonel.
So it'll be interesting to see that. Now, we talked about Captain America, and we talked about Lady Thor. Let's talk about Lady Thor. There's been so much fanboy bull BS going on about this. It's like this has not been the first time somebody other than Donald Blake or Thor himself have wielded the hammer. This is not something new. Now, shock value, kind of weird that we have Sam Wilson. We're changing Captain America. Now we're changing Thor at the same time. Who else? And now we're changing Iron Man. 3 huge changes going on at once. I don't know if I personally like that. That really seems like, I feel, and I've said this before, and I don't know if you have agreed or disagreed, lazy writing. Okay, we see one character, major character, Captain America. Okay, I can get that in the universe because that can ripple through other books, and it can affect so many other books going on. But now we have Lady Thor, and now Iron Man Tony Stark's dealing with the fact that he put Extremis out to the public. Seems too much. All of a sudden, it's just like sensory overload, and I don't understand why they would do this at this particular time.
Well, I think if you're going to make a move like this, you swing for the fences. And Thor is again, you're right. It's one of those characters that very easily lends itself to somebody else. And if you're looking to shake up your lineup, you couldn't. There really wasn't, say, a female character that you could have handed Captain America's shield to. There's nobody who really fits that bill.
Are you
that
sure?
has the background.
Are you sure?
We haven't really seen anybody hit that point yet. I'm not saying that they can't develop a character like that, but there hasn't been.
Are you saying nobody
history.
in the Marvel U could hold the shield if she as a female?
Nobody that we've met. I mean, I can't think of anybody that I've met in the Marvel Universe who is a female character that has that connection with Captain America that it would feel organic for them to hold the shield. I mean, you can't give it to Black Widow.
Why not? She's a spy. Big deal. She may not have. She's got a good connection to Captain America, Josh. Granted, she may not think like he does because she is a spy, but she's my first choice.
Maybe it's just because I'm still a child of the Cold War, where I'm like, you can't have a Russian Captain America. Like, especially right now,
okay,
I just really don't think that would fly.
And that brings up a great point because obviously we're trying to get the Thor here. How many people are saying we can't have a black Captain America?
Well, see, that's kind of bullshit. But saying right now, with everything that's going on in the world, that we can't have a Russian Captain America is kind of legit.
But Josh, minus if that happened, because we know this storyline had happened. This development was way before any of that crap was going on in the real world. Let's be honest. They planned this out.
No, the thing in the real world's been cooking for a while.
Yeah, I still think this has been out planned for a long time.
Let's talking about Thor.
Well, no. I want to get back. Even if Russia, if the crap that's going on in the real world, let's say that's not happening. What other reason would you say Natasha could not be Captain America? I mean, honestly, she would be my first choice. She has the tactical background. She has the contacts. She may not. You don't need super soldier serum. Obviously,
I'll put it this way. She's the only one that I think would be close.
Okay.
It's just hard for me to see somebody with her background doing that.
Okay.
But you could have said the same thing about Bucky. The difference being that Bucky was literally being mind controlled.
Correct.
Black Widow started her existence as a villain.
Yeah, and you mentioned Hawkeye. So did he.
Yeah, that's true. So you're right. There's a path you could follow if we weren't, say, on the cusp of Russia starting World War III.
Right.
Where you could see Natasha becoming Captain America. But so since that's sort of off the table right now because of real geopolitical issues.
Understand.
If you're looking at trying to create a diverse balance in your big three, you're going to keep Tony Stark as Iron Man. Honestly, that would have been an area where I could have seen them going another direction. I could have easily seen them putting somebody else in the Iron Man suit.
I would probably, you know what? To be honest, I think that would cause more controversy than any other character change.
If we put Pepper Potts in the Iron Man suit, you don't think people would have been game for it?
No, they weren't game for it in Iron Man 3.
Oh, are you kidding me? I really wanted to see her kick a little bit more ass in that.
It was enough to give her the damn gauntlet, the glove. That was it. That was enough.
How awesome did that look?
It did, but come on, Josh. Seriously.
Well, and you know her very anti-violence bent. Like there was that great contrasting moment right there at the end where she wails the living daylights out of him, and just looks like she's all into it, and then she's like, oh my, that was so violent.
And you know who?
I can't believe I did that.
And you know the most logical choice, and probably, like I said, I mean, are some of these moves just because writers are lazy and they can't come up with something for the original character? All right, let's pull the super soldier serum out of Steve Rogers and do something. Some of that can be said to be lazy writing. I'm sorry, it just is. If you can't keep the character going, then something's wrong with the writing. And at the same time, the other half of me is like, this is cool. This is going to be not just necessarily shock value. There could be great stories going on here. Now, putting somebody else in the Iron Man role, it's going to be Rhodes. That would be the easiest choice. Pull the Iron Patriot armor, put him in. He would be the most logical choice.
What's really funny right now is on Marvel Avengers Alliance, my go-to team is Iron Patriot and Falcon.
Nice. Well, there you go. I don't see... And like you're saying, there's no woman that could fill Captain America. Obviously, we took Natasha. Who could fill Iron Man's role? You really have to be egotistical and arrogant to fill his role. You really do. And it has nothing to do with the armor. I mean, that's why Rhodes is Iron Patriot. He's not Iron Man. I mean, he has worn the Iron Man armor. But to fill Iron Man, I don't see anybody in the Marvel U that really could do that.
Yeah, I mean, there are a couple of people I think you could probably build up to that. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with that character if and when Robert Downey Jr. decides he's never going back to Marvel.
Now, we've talked about that too. I know it's not confirmed. Rumors are Robert Downey's already done filming for Avengers 3. And I've kind of said this, and I don't know if I said this on pod or off. I'm like,
oh, it's not rumors. He's gone online and been like, I'm unemployed now.
I know that part. I know. That, yes, I'm saying yes, he is done filming. But the rumors never confirmed that he will no longer be Iron Man. I see it two ways. I see it, and this is kind of like an Inkcast subset into crossover. I see him, he's smart. He's probably the best comeback story I've ever seen in Hollywood. From I don't know how many in and out of rehabs. He might even beat Jason Mewes going in and out of rehabs. I mean, and coming back and being on the top of his game. But what he did in Avengers and what's going on with the deals he's made, I'm not going to get paid, but I'm taking percentages. He made more money than any of those actors made. He's a savvy businessman, first and foremost, and a great actor second, as far as I'm concerned. I don't know if he's going to be gone, but I feel that he's waiting and waiting and waiting and holding Marvel. Marvel's going to be like, all right, we want Iron Man. And he's going to be like, well, you're going to really have to pay. He's been the integral part of their Marvel universe for years. So for him to say, okay, I'm done being Iron Man, okay, I get it. I don't think it's true. If there's enough money being had, I think he's holding out. There's rumors now surfacing that it's going to be Thor 3 and Iron Man 4 going into Phase 4. I don't know.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm honestly,
like I said, I agree with you.
If I'm being really honest, I would have no problem with them getting rid of him as Iron Man. And going in a different direction with the Avengers entirely.
I agree with you. And me saying that, because of the hype of Doc Strange, everybody's like, nobody can fill Robert Downey's shoes. I just talked him up, but at the same time, everybody's expendable. Okay.
Yeah. So let's talk Lady Thor here.
Yes, let's do that.
Thor. So there has been a lot of confusion on the internet about what exactly is going on. A lot of people thought, oh, they're changing the existing Thor into a woman.
No.
As I explained to my daughter when I was telling her about this the other day, and because I said, guess what they're doing? And she said, what? And I said, there's going to be a new Thor, and guess what? It's a lady. And she said, what?
Nice.
I said, yeah. And she's like, how can Thor be a lady? I said, well, you know how on Thor's hammer it says, whosoever holds this hammer, if they be worthy, possesses the power of Thor. And she said, yeah. And I said, well, what happens if a lady picks up the hammer and she goes, oh?
Now, you have had to tell your daughters that's not the first woman to pick up the hammer.
No, it's not. And what's cool is I actually remember a great what if story from back in the mid '80s, where it was what if Rogue had stayed a bad guy,
Mm-hmm.
and at the end of that story, she winds up fighting like all of the Avengers, including Thor, and then siphons off all of Thor's power, like kills Thor.
Nice.
Takes the power of Thor, and like Odin comes to her in a vision and is like, you know, you could choose to be a good guy now. And she's like, oh, I suppose I could. And then for there on, she is the new Thor.
Right. And Storm's welded the hammer. Wonder Woman has welded the hammer.
Captain America has held the hammer.
Superman.
The Hulk's tried and failed.
Yep. Superman.
Superman. So we've seen a lot of different people hold the hammer. Wonder Woman, for me, like, you want to talk about somebody who would just be like overpowered to the extreme.
Yes.
Give Wonder Woman the hammer of Thor.
Now, wait a minute though. Her powers at that time were not what her powers are in the New 52.
No, right, but you give New 52 Wonder Woman the hammer of Thor, like, come on.
Yeah.
That's just not even fair. She'd have the sword of Hephaestus in one hand, the hammer of Thor in the other, and she'd just be like, Ares, what?
And yeah, exactly. And don't forget my favorite Beta Ray Bill.
God, Beta Ray Bill, or as the internet likes to refer to him, Badass Space Horsey.
I don't give a shit. I love that character. I will always.
Oh, I love Beta Ray Bill too. I love that they pulled him into the animated Planet Hulk as a replacement for Silver Surfer.
Yes, I thought that was amazing. But getting back to Thor.
Getting back to Lady Thor.
Lady Thor. I feel, there was a lot of outrage right off the bat. And I think some of it has to be with they've already heard Captain America change. They're already hearing about Iron Man. Now we're hearing Thor. What is going on with Marvel? And it's a brand new character. I think that is what has gotten me a little bit more excited about this particular change than putting Sam Wilson and changing, Tony Stark's armor and him dealing with extremists. That is something I like, that it's a brand new, unknown female character we've never seen before. Now, everybody thought it was going to be Angela, obviously through the storyline, Loki's daughter and everything that's going on.
But then we saw that she's pictured separately as a part of the Avengers.
Exactly. So I like that they're bringing in somebody new, brand new to the universe. It's been a while since somebody
because what's going to be good, if you look at historically how they've dealt with these changed characters, putting a new character in a familiar role is typically a way of launching a new character.
Correct.
Odds are, even regardless of what I said earlier, by the time Avengers 2 comes out, the big three will be back to status quo.
Of course.
It's going to be Tony Stark in his regular armor without freaking out. It's going to be Steve Rogers behind the Captain America mask, and it's going to be Thor Odin's son holding the hammer. But, one possibility that I've seen pointed out is that they may bring back the title Thunderstrike.
Eric Masterson.
Well, Eric Masterson was the original Thunderstrike.
Correct.
Somebody who held the hammer of Thor, and then eventually they gave him his own hammer.
Yes.
When Odin's son came back.
Yep.
I could easily see them doing something similar with this new character.
I'm going to see
once
Thor
we bring Odin's son back, and let's be honest, he's not really going away.
No, he's not.
He's going to be running around with a big old axe for a while. That once they give him his hammer back, that I think this new character, whatever her name is, will wind up being the new Thunderstrike.
Okay, so she could possibly get her own title.
And let's face it, Lady Thunderstrike sounds just kind of awesome.
Yeah, it sounds like Lady, what's Deathstrike? No, not really.
Yeah, I mean, a little, but like, and
I get it.
Maybe we could see an awesome, three-girl, superhero Charlie's Angels type where you give me Captain Marvel, Lady Sif, and Thunderstrike. Like that's some serious heavy hitting right there.
Could we see the Thor Korra come back?
Maybe. I don't even know what they've been doing with Eric Masterson lately.
How many goddamn hammers are there? I mean,
a lot.
A lot all of a sudden.
That's the whole thing they're doing in Avengers Alliance right now. They're doing an event centered around, or a release of character skins based around the Worthy.
Now, what was
So we just got a skin for She-Hulk where they have her as with her big old freaking hammer.
Now, do you know off the top of your head what Thunderstrike's hammer was called?
I think it was just called Thunderstrike.
It was Thunderstrike. Well, we have Stormbreaker.
Yeah.
And then it was Stormbreaker, Stormbringer for Beta Ray. So we obviously have Mjolnir. So if you think
Meow,
that,
meow.
yeah, meow meow. Now, if we think that this is a superior speculation, and you heard it here first, obviously here on Infinite Crossover, that we're gonna see a Lady Thunderstrike, she's gonna get her own hammer. So
They could easily make her a new one. They could make her a new
that's
hammer.
well, that's what I'm
Someone
saying.
can be
She's
like,
gonna get her
"Hey,
own
yo,
hammer. Yeah.
whip me up a new hammer."
We could see a Thor core. We could see her teaming up with Beta Ray Bill, bringing back the mystique of the late. Well, was it in the late '90s? Might have been in the late '90s. I can't remember the time frame when we started seeing the Thor core.
Yeah, it would have been the late '90s because
So-
that was when original Thor was back. Eric Masterson was still floating around. Beta Ray Bill was there.
Yes.
And those, because I remember some of those covers where you had Odin's son flying up the middle, and you
Yes.
had one off to his left and one off to his right, and you're like, those dudes are gonna mess some stuff up.
Now we are kind of geeking out here, which is awesome. And we haven't, Josh and I haven't talked. We haven't even talked off pod in a month. We've been so busy. The serious aspects of this, we are geeking out, and I got to tell you, I am getting goosebumps about this a little bit, of the possibilities of what's going to be happening with these characters. But the serious aspects, let's talk about the cons of this, Josh. I mean, we've talked a lot about the pros, but can we give our listeners what possibly is the
Well,
con
first
of
off, you're
this?
gonna piss off a bunch of people whose attitudes are still stuck in the '50s. As you can easily
Well,
see
we
if
do
you
that
go-
every week when a comic book comes
Yeah.
out.
I mean, you can just. I've had since the news broke a special thing on my tweet deck just showing me Captain America comments, and I'd say it's about 70-30, positive to negative.
Okay.
And the negatives are usually just the most awful racist crap that you can imagine. I mean, really, I haven't.
How can it be
seen
racist? Are we talking Thor?
No, Captain America.
Okay. Well, that's a given. And do we? I
The
don't,
major,
let's not even talk about it.
negative, the major negative that I hear about Thor has been, why do this to an established character? There's one of my people I correspond with on Twitter. I doubt they're actually listening right now, but maybe they are, and they'll appreciate the shout out. It's at Songbird Diamond.
Mhm.
My opinion on female Thor. Why couldn't you push other great female characters that have been put into limbo recently?
Okay, such as.
And which was my exact question to them.
Because didn't they pull out Miss Marvel out of
No, actually, these were all honestly this was a pretty good answer, and
Okay.
the first two could have actually made very good substitutes in this new Avengers lineup, which was
Okay.
Sif and Valkyrie. Neither of them are being used right now.
Wasn't Valkyrie on the New Defenders? And
But
the
isn't
book
being-
got canceled, I think.
Yeah, isn't being used right now.
Correct. Okay. Okay.
Mockingbird is in limbo,
Oh yeah, for a long time.
and Crystal is oddly absent from the Inhumans book. And then I got like 2 tweets out of this. Misty Knight,
Okay.
Colleen Wing, Songbird, Surge, Mercury, Dust. There are a lot of unused characters that you could have slotted in. Now, my other than Sif or Mercury, it's hard to find somebody who fills that heavy hitter slot.
Yeah,
that you
none of
need
the
from
none of the
Thor.
rest ever. And a lot of them are.
Now,
like,
Valkyrie, either of those two, honestly, I think would have made really interesting additions.
I'd like to see Misty Knight actually, just to give it that ground roots Marvel Knights feel.
Yeah. I mean,
I'd rather see that than Valkyrie.
I think had you and like I said, I'm obviously very, very game for this move that they're doing with Thor. I think
Yeah.
it's really cool that I could justify giving my daughter a hammer of Thor.
Mhm.
But had they chosen to go with, say, Sif or Valkyrie in that roster slot for Avengers, I think you still would have gotten a heavy hitter. You still would have gotten the female representation. And I'm sure Jamie Alexander would have been sitting there going, does this mean I get to be in Avengers 4? Does this mean I get to be in Avengers 4?
Well, putting Sif with Lady Thor, I don't know about that.
No, I'm
Wait,
saying you could have replaced Lady
replace her.
Thor on
Okay.
that roster
Okay.
with Sif
Okay. Yeah.
or Valkyrie.
I agree. I'd rather see Misty Knight though. I don't want to see. You know what?
I still want to see someone slinging hammers.
I agree, but you know what? There's heavy hitters there. I like that Marvel Knights feel. Somebody who doesn't have superpowers and isn't a big A-lister, but she brings something to the team. I'd like to see that. That's a bigger. I think that's a better dynamic than putting Sif or Valkyrie in.
I agree. I mean, I think that they've got a lot more possibility for stories with what they're doing. I mean, Sif is basically the way she's. Well, I shouldn't say this. The way I was familiar with how she was written, and I know they did a lot of different awesome stuff with her in the last couple of years. She always just sounded like a female version of Thor to me. In the way she talks, that general, warrior-born attitude.
Right.
That's why Odin thinks they would be perfect together. But
and we might see that dynamic going on. That you're not Thor. We know how Sif loves Thor. I mean, that's an ongoing kind of thing. So I could see the Lady Thor and Sif go at it.
Absolutely. I see Sif showing up and being like, "Give me the hammer."
Minus the mud in the Jello. Oh yeah, there's gonna be a fight going on. you know.
Oh man, I don't see Sif being happy about this at all. But I think
not.
that it's going to be interesting because you've got Iron Man, who's obviously dealing with his other stuff going on. You've got Captain America, Sam Wilson, who I don't say has to prove himself.
Yes,
because
he does. He does.
He's a veteran hero.
But he's wearing the stars and stripes, Josh. He's got to prove himself.
But in terms of how other people around him on that team are going to see him, I think everybody that's on that team with him recognizes his experience. I don't think you're going to see that question. You're going to see that question from the public, and you're probably going to see that question from Sam himself. I don't think you're going to see it from his teammates.
His teammates, a lot of them are rookies. And a lot of them don't even have really intimate experience with him.
Yeah, but you look, Doc, Iron Man.
Yeah, but Doc has no real big experience with him. Iron Man does.
They've both been around for ages. They've run into each other.
I know
and
that,
Doc's
but
I'm a member of the Illuminati. He knows what's what.
No, I understand that, but working together. I mean, he's worked with Iron Man. He's worked with Winter Soldier. But he hasn't worked with anybody else in that team. If anything, I agree with you to a point that the Lady Thor, granted she may be an arrogant god, which I think is probably going to be the case. You have Angela, who doesn't give a crap about anybody at this point. She is who she is. They will kind of look up to him or just be like, you're just a human, blow off kind of deal.
Yeah. No, what I was getting at, though, is I think that if you look at, you've got Iron Man, who is... He is who he's always been, other than the things they're doing in Superior Iron Man.
Right.
You've got Falcon, who's going to be questioning himself, but people around him are going to be looking to him to be a leader because of he's Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to have Lady Thor, who is the untested, incredibly powerful rookie. That's a really good core dynamic to build that team around.
I agree. I wasn't going to pick it up after reading it. I got to say, though, after reading Joshua's article, which you can find on fanboysinc.com.
I'm probably plug there.
Yes, of course. Of course. Why not? I'll probably pick up because it's such a dynamic roster, and I haven't been following Angela. I haven't been following what's going on. So seeing her dynamic from Guardians of the Galaxy now tying in with the Asgardians, it's going to be interesting to see that play. I've always liked the Inhumans, so seeing Medusa there, and remember, she's a queen. For her to take rule or orders from a human is going to be an interesting dynamic. I think we forget about that aspect. Granted, they have no home now, and it's everything's in chaos, but she is first and foremost a queen, and will always be a queen.
Right, well, and I think you're going to see a lot of stuff similar to sort of how they were using Havoc in Uncanny Avengers with that. That right. He was there as the representative of mutant kind.
Right.
And I think Medusa is probably doing much the same thing. You can't really have Black Bolt do that because Black Bolt can't really give a press conference.
Yeah, right. Totally not.
I'm sure there's some people with their opinions of the media that would love for Black Bolt to give a press conference, but so Medusa, I think you're going to see her being the public face of the Inhumans on Earth, and having all of that threaded in as sort of an ongoing issue within this all new Avengers, I think is going to make her some really interesting stuff. So I mean, you asked me what the negatives are. I'm hard pressed to really find any major negatives outside of they maybe could have pulled in a different established female character and chosen to put them in the spotlight as opposed to creating Lady Thor.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I am perfectly fine. And honestly, I mean, obviously, I'm telling my daughters about this right after it happens. I love this idea of if you've got a character who lends themselves to being taken over by different, identities. Why not have it be a woman? For once in the character's established canon history. Like, I can talk about, Rogue doing it years and years ago in a What If story.
Storm.
But, well, Storm was never Thor, though. Storm never carried the book. Storm never starred in the title, know?
No, I agree.
Let's give this a little while. And, maybe we'll only get it for 6 to 9 months until Avengers 2 comes out. But that 6 to 9 months of canon that will give young women the opportunity. Just look at it this way: you're going to have young women who no longer have to get any crap at a convention if they want to cosplay as Thor.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, that's one of the first things I thought of. Going, you know what? All these women that were cosplaying as Thor just made it to the limelight.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, they're probably a lot of those gals are pissed because they've had their costumes set up to look like the traditional Thor costume or the Chris Hemsworth costume. Now they're going to be like, what the hell? I got to redo my costume.
And I got to say, you're probably on the right track because when we had this past Wednesday, if you haven't listened yet, check out this past Wednesday's Inkcast. Joe and I came back after 3 weeks of pre-recorded episodes. The first thing I thought of was that's a Thunderstrike helmet she's wearing. That whole covering up my entire face from my nose up. It really reminded me of Thunderstrike.
You're right. It does look like the Thunderstrike helmet. So I see her sticking around. I really do. And maybe she winds up being, the core member of a big three, maybe a new Defenders that's not centered around Doc Strange. Give me the Defenders as, like I said, give me Captain Marvel, Sif, and Lady Thunderstrike.
That's probably not going to
Thunderstrike at that point.
Probably not going to happen with Netflix's deal. I see them being very tied together, more so and more so every time a movie comes out.
You're probably right. But something. I think they're going to find something for her to do.
I see
even once they give the hammer back to the Odin son.
Right. I look at it this way. When I asked for cons and you had none, or hard pressed to come up with one.
Here's a con. Thor is now a Disney princess. There's a con.
Are you taking it from our Fanboys Inc. post I put out earlier today?
Oh no, I put that. I think I put that out yesterday as well.
I think I put it out yesterday. I think it was yesterday. Yeah.
That's somebody gave credit where credit was due on that.
Nice.
Trying to remember. I
forgot where I saw it, but we posted it on Fanboys Inc. It probably was I think it was yesterday, and I'm like, it's so true. That is perfect. It's the way it was written.
It is.
My con for this is not necessarily Thor. It's the changes all at once. It seemed, for me, it's a con for this massive shakeup. It seems, one shakeup. Captain America, great. Okay, I can see what you're going with it. Shake up one tile. Okay, now you're doing Captain America. Now you're doing Thor. Now you're doing Iron Man, which we'll get into quick as we wrap this up. And now Avengers has a whole dynamic team. I see it desperate. Something's going on. Are we seeing?
I don't see it so much as desperate.
I do, because that's so much of a drastic 4 titles all at once. That just
Yeah, but look at it this way: when you're walking into a cold swimming pool, do you tiptoe in at the shallow end and kind of work your way up? No. You go over to the deep end, you dive in, you go, and then you're good to go.
I still see it as a desperate move. I really do, Josh. I see this
as... why would we think they're desperate? I mean, Marvel has consistently been leading in sales over the major competition at DC.
It's desperate to stay on top because they're worried.
Yeah, I don't think you can call that desperation. Until we saw some kind of indication looking at the market that Marvel was losing in any way, which they haven't been. The only title that consistently beats out there are 2 books that consistently knock Marvel out of top slots, and those are The Walking Dead and Batman.
Yep. And I'm
everywhere else, Marvel has been kicking ass in the comics market. They've been owning the comic market for part of 2 years now.
Until I read these stories, I can't change my personal thoughts. It's just out of shock value, and just it's great to shake things up. But you know how I feel.
I think you want to make a splash. And this goes, it's kind of funny given what I just said about
of course.
I think you want to make a splash if you're Marvel, and this allows them to, again, right as San Diego Comic-Con is rolling, this is what all the questions are going to be about at San Diego Comic-Con. They have totally grabbed the conversation. You and I aren't talking about anything to do with DC, are we? We're not talking about
No,
Batman and
no,
Superman.
no.
We're not talking about Justice League. We're not talking about how, supposedly Gal Gadot has not been able to put on enough muscle yet for them to shoot her as Wonder Woman, even though they want to.
Right.
We're talking about Marvel. We're still a year
course.
out from Avengers 2. Guardians of the Galaxy is coming. I mean, everything at Comic-Con is going to be about Marvel.
True. Yeah, DC is going to be the redheaded stepchild, I'm sure, out of this con. By far.
And so really, if you're, I don't know if it's so much desperate as if you look at how everything is scheduled out. I mean, Comic-Con starts this week.
Yes.
Guardians comes out the week after, so there's obviously going to be a lot of press going on for Guardians at Comic-Con. So Marvel had that positioned, on the calendar. They knew that. They knew when Comic-Con was going to be. They knew when they were putting out Guardians. You've seen all this stuff come out in Entertainment Weekly. All the shots coming out for Avengers 2. So Marvel's been squeezing over on that side. And then, so you got sort of the two sides there with movie news. Then here they come right up the middle with the big three, Cap, Iron Man, and Thor, saying, bam, this is what we're doing with them in the comics for the next year. Marvel just dominated.
But do we need another goddamn Avengers book? Let's be honest. I mean, that's part of my whole problem with this. How many freaking Avenger books do we need? I mean, it's like Batman.
How many less X-Men books they're going to be doing?
That's pears and apples. So because we cover. Wait a minute. Whoa. Wait a minute.
At one point, X-Men that was what Marvel did.
I understand that.
As you guys have talked about on Inkcast,
I know.
They're moving away from the focus on X-Men. You have to make that up somewhere, and so they're doing it with Avengers.
Bullshit. I mean, sorry, I'm swearing. Listen, with the multiple X-Men books, and if you've listened to Inkcast, I've said they've done a great job that you can have multiple X-Men books and not be confused. I'm so confused right now.
Who's writing All New Avengers?
All New Avengers. Oh, you had to. God damn it. I don't know. Off the top of my head.
Is it Hickman?
No. Wait a minute. It might be Remender. Hold on. It might be Hickman. Hold on a second. What do I got?
As we go dead. Sorry, I just totally.
No, that's okay.
Totally threw you for a loop there.
No.
Because I could easily see them, because I know that Avengers World hasn't been doing great in sales.
No, but I like that book. I like that book.
I like the book too. Uncanny. I like that book. But it's been late very often. I could easily see them, and when you think about that, if we're counting Uncanny as one of these many Avengers books that seems to be out now, it doesn't come out that often.
No, I agree. No, I totally agree. All right, we got what do we got? I got Avengers is Hickman. And what do we got? New Avengers, I think.
Because we've got a post up on Fanboys about all the solicits for that month from Marvel, right?
Yes. Huge. It might be Remender. At this point, though, even no matter who the writers are, it seems, and I've said this numerous times on Inkcast, that it's confusing with so many Avengers books. Yes, your team is huge. I get that. But really, do we need Captain America in 3 of the Avengers books? If your team is that big, why have him in 3 books? And that's with X-Men. Very rarely did you see Wolverine in all 5 books.
What?
Hold on. Let me finish. Don't what me. You may have seen him, but it works in the timeline. Why he's there? Because one book will tell you why he's going into this book, whether it's Uncanny, whether it's X-Factor, whether it's X-Men, whether it's Astonishing. You can bounce. Here, there's no explanation why Captain America is in 3 others.
We can't say that yet because the book hasn't come out yet.
No, I'm talking about existing books. I'm not talking about Avengers, the new Avengers now.
Okay.
I'm talking about
and maybe that's something they're looking to clean up.
I hope so.
I could easily see, if it is Remender writing All New Avengers, and he's also writing Captain America. God, is he also still writing Spider-Man? No, that's Dan Slott. Sorry.
Yes, that's Dan Slott.
So obviously, Remender's going to have a grip on where Captain America is in all of this. I'll be interested to see if Hickman's Avengers continues, or if he's working his way maybe towards some big finish, and maybe he's going to go do something else.
True, and remember, we still have Original Sin going around all with this too. So
yeah, so I think that when we see this launch, because All New Avengers #1 hits when?
Which one?
All New Avengers #1.
The Avengers Now, I believe September.
September. Okay.
I believe.
So we've got 2 months or so, 2-3 months or so before we see what this is going to look like, what the final shape of this is going to look like. And not the final shape, what it's going to start out looking like. So we've got some time for them to clean up Original Sin, to clean up what they're doing in Avengers, and sort of tie all of this together. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in Original Sin with Steve being ancient.
Well, so is Nick Fury.
Yeah.
So they can sip coffee together now.
Yeah, they can sit there. I kind of want to see
two guys sitting on a porch.
Exactly. I want to see Nick Fury and Steve Rogers
talking about the old days.
Yeah, kicking it on the porch, talking about the old days. In fact, they should sort of become like the Statler and Waldorf of the Marvel universe.
No, they're the two grumpy old men on the Muppet Show.
Those Statler and Waldorf. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to see people coming to them for advice. And that's actually a very common trope in a lot of fiction, is like the wise old man who you go to for advice, who like used to be in the game and now isn't.
Well, I think that's what Sam Wilson's going to do with Steve. I think Steve is going to be his mentor.
I would love to see that.
I really think that's what's going to happen.
Very much almost like a less angry version of Batman Beyond's Bruce Wayne, where Steve is kind of in his ear as his tactical mastermind.
I don't see...
Why is Tom messaging me now asking if we're going live? Because, Tom, we've been live for an hour.
Yeah, it's been live. I'm wondering if there's something wrong with the link. I apologize. But, yeah, the link's up. We've been going live. I don't know what you're doing, Tom, if you listen to this on Thursday. There's no definite date yet. I'm assuming we'll get that for San Diego Comic-Con. I'm assuming it says into 2015, but we could possibly see this, like I said, in the fall. It seems these launches are coming out this fall. As we wrap up, though, the last big change, as we talked about the big three, was Iron Man.
Crap, we haven't talked about Iron Man.
No, we haven't talked about Iron Man, and I don't mind going over. We haven't. Listen, we got to give our fans a little bit longer than an hour and 15 minutes. We've been gone for a month. The new Iron Man, Superior Iron Man. If you haven't known, it's Tony Stark is dealing with the fact that he has let extremists out into the public. In dealing with that fact, visually right off the bat, you're going to notice Iron Man is wearing white. And I'm wondering, right off the bat, when I saw that as Iron Man being white, heroes wear white, villains wear black. Now, Iron Man's always been gold and red. I'm wondering if it's his way as subconsciously saying, I am the hero, and that this is why I'm putting the white armor on and waving the flag, the peace flag, that, hey, I'm trying to do something good here, as far as being subconscious-wise and trying to impose that impression with them.
It kind of reminds me of a really interesting line that I heard in something I was watching yesterday. I don't even remember what it was, where it said, beware white knights, people. White knights don't slay dragons, they train them.
Yes, I like that. I love that. The big change, the change-up. Is it really a change? The man's been dealing with being an egotistical a-hole, and Stan Lee himself has said, I wrote Iron Man for people to hate him. And he's been hated for years. I mean, he's egotistical. He's arrogant. He's cocky. He's one of the problems of the Illuminati. I mean, he's made some decisions. I mean, they wiped Captain America's mind clear in Avengers for the fact of certain things that are going on. He skirts the line almost to being a villain. I'm going to say it right now. He skirts those lines. He skirts the line not as much as Magneto or some of the others, but he skirts that line. He does things for his own personal agenda. And does that really make him a hero? I don't know. For this change, once again, the general public's going to hate him. And once again, he's going to come back and full of BS and do a smoke and mirror show and be, hey, I'm the good guy. I did this for a good reason. I don't know if that's the change I wanted to see.
Well, and what's going to be really interesting is seeing how they match that up with, is Sam going to try and take on a role as a leader? Is Tony going to be willing to allow that?
I doubt it. But come on, we already know that's not going to happen.
Is Doc, how Doc is going to play into all that?
I agree. Now wait a minute. Go back. Let me retract that. Now we talked about Sam trying to be the leader. Do you think possibly, depending on how the storyline goes, could Tony Stark?
May as well call him Stony since he's the superior Iron Man. That's how we got to
Stony.
Spock.
Stony. We got Spider-Puss and Stony. Could he pull back because maybe he's so afraid of the general public outrage or the fact of extremists that he's starting to doubt himself? Could we see Iron Man and Sam Wilson doubting themselves, and Iron Man pulling back and being like, all right, Sam, go for it. You are Captain America. You're wearing the symbol. Take lead.
I could actually see that as being a really big part of it. I mean, Tony is very PR savvy.
Okay.
He's going to understand that public wants Captain America out front.
Yes. Okay. All right. So he's always about PR.
He may be pushing Sam to take a more active leadership role, which Sam may not be comfortable with.
He might be the press release guy, like Havoc was.
Exactly. So there's going to be a lot of cool stuff to pay attention to into how they write this. And like we talked about, I mean, Remender is fearless.
Yes.
He is not going to shy away from drawing parallels to modern media. He's not going to shy away from dealing with a lot of people's concerns about the role of technology in the world. I think that's going to be a really big factor in Iron Man.
Okay. No, I agree. I mean, until we see the story roll out, we really don't know what his stand is going to be. And you might be right. Maybe it is really misleading. Like I said, that Iron Man may be center in that image, but he's not the leader of the Avengers. It really could be Sam Wilson. It could be Doc Strange, for all we know. You know.
I don't know so much see Doc taking on that role.
God damn it, give me my moment. I want to see Doc Strange lead a good team and not the crappy defenders.
Yeah, I understand.
But yes, it might be misleading that he may image-wise, you would think it'd be Iron Man, but it's really Sam Wilson, the Falcon, who's going to be leading that team, and that could happen. I just feel these changes. I've always said it too much too soon, and I know we mentioned Tom earlier. He's got on me about me saying that. Why is it always too much too soon? Because sometimes it really is, and this seems such a huge shakeup all at once. Would it be better to gradually shake that up? You increase your sales on one book, it spreads in the Marvel Universe, then you gradually do Thor, and then you gradually do, Iron Man, then you do Avengers. Extend your sales and extend your market overall instead of doing one big bang, because now, if they flop, people don't like it, they don't approve it, now you just lost 4 titles right off the bat. Now that is worst case scenario.
That is worst case scenario, but I mean, also think about it from a corporate shareholder standpoint. They don't, it's always what have you done for me lately. If it is a success, it's going to be a big hit at the Disney boardroom.
True, very true. But how long is it?
If you're high up in the Marvel, rankings, you want to be able to walk into that meeting and have some firepower, and you can say, hey, we just made this huge change, and look what it's done for us. We're leading the way.
But how long is what would be a success? How long are you going to hold these sales? You want like what was it? Superior Amazing Spider-Man #1 that was pre-orders were the biggest pre-order ever. And then,
I said this when the news came out. I'm going to put the over/under for sales on all new Captain America #1 at about 200,000. That's my guess.
Okay, so it's going to be definitely less than Amazing Spider-Man #1.
Well, because I don't know. Well,
Amazing Spider-Man #1 was more than 200,000.
Oh, Amazing Spider-Man #1 wasn't that close to 1 million?
It was. I heard at one point it was over 500,000.
Yeah, if they could do that, they would be crapping themselves with glee. But I think that it's going to. I think all new Captain America #1 has a really good shot at topping the sales charts for that month.
And it probably will. But just because that month does not mean it's a success, right? I mean, you just want the quick hit, or are you looking for the long term here?
Well, that's going to depend on what kind of job Remender does.
Right. If
the book is good, it's going to last. And you look at, for an Ultimate title, if we're talking strictly about, and I hesitate to go this route, but whatever.
Go ahead.
If we're talking strictly about, a book that appeals to the African American demographic, Ultimate Spider-Man did very good numbers for an Ultimate line book.
True.
And now you're talking about, the granddaddy of them all when it comes to Marvel.
But was it because he was black, or is it because he was a cool Spider-Man story?
It was a good story.
Did it matter that he was black?
I think it did.
Okay.
It got pressed for a lot of the same reasons. Okay. And you think about you've seen the photos from cosplay.
Yes.
You've seen all of these kids who now have a Spider-Man that looks like them.
True. So are we going to see Captain America then? Obviously.
I think we're gonna see Captain America cosplay out the wazoo at Comic-Con.
I don't know if you'll see too much of it.
You,
I don't know if you'll see too much of it at San Diego, but I'm telling you right now, it'll be all over New York City.
Well, I'm sure you're probably right. I mean, it's the turnaround is pretty short for people to have costumes ready for San Diego. But I think that there are probably a few people that were planning on cosplaying as the Falcon who just busted out the spray paint.
Yeah, right. I got a star now, right here on my chest. It's all good.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in paint sales, then make sure you stock up on red, white, and blue. But good timing too, because I guarantee you there was probably a lot of overstock of red, white, and blue spray paint from the 4th of July having been last month. But I mean, you're gonna see a lot of that at New York, obviously. But I think that it's going to be a good thing long term for the character, because it's going to make it possible for more people to connect with it. Okay. I mean, one of the always ironically uncomfortable things about Steve Rogers as Captain America, and this has been talked about in any number of academic papers, is that he represented the ideal that he was fighting against. I mean, the dude looked like a Nazi recruiting poster.
Yeah. True.
I mean, he's 6'3", blonde hair, blue eyes, built like a linebacker. Like he's literally Hitler's ideal. And that was done on purpose. Kirby and Ditko talked about that this was something that was absolutely done on purpose with the model of Steve Rogers. It was counter-propaganda. It was turning the Nazi model against itself.
Of course.
And I talked about that a little bit in my series on comics and nationalism. But with what they're doing with Sam Wilson, it's
still kind of is anti-Nazi propaganda.
Absolutely. Somebody asked me, what happens with the somebody was saying that their favorite Captain America villains are Baron Zemo, the various different Baron Zemos and the Red Skull, and they have all this history with Captain America and they hate him for ideological reasons, and how's that going to work with the Falcon being Captain America now? And I'm like, you do realize the Nazis hated people besides Jews, right? That the Red Skull and Baron Zemo are not really going to be cool.
Yeah, exactly.
with a black Captain America. They're going to have a lot of problems with that.
Now, what do we the superior speculation? 6 months? 6 months?
I'm just going to say it's going to depend a lot on what happens in Avengers 2. We know an Avenger is going to die.
Yeah, well, I don't think it's going to be Cap. Do you think it's going to be Cap? Don't be. Josh, cut it out. Seriously, come on. Spoilers or not, you really think it's going to be Cap?
When it comes to Joss Whedon killing people, you can never gamble on who it will.
You're banking on the fact that Evans has publicly stated he's done and he wants to direct and produce, so we're just going to kill Cap off?
I could see it.
I could see Robert Downey.
And then I could see Captain America 3 being the battle for the Shield.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Being diverse in comics.
We talked about that months ago.
Yeah,
the potential ending for Avengers 2, the post-credit, where you've got Captain America's shield laying on a casket and somebody comes and picks it up.
Yeah, but you know what? No offense, and I give the general public a lot of credit. You're really screwing with the general public at that point. It's putting out a movie for general public and comic book readers, totally two different things. I don't know if they would do that.
If we're talking about general public though, think about how trilogies typically work, right? Let's look at, the granddaddy of them all, Star Wars.
Yep.
Chapter 2 is the dark chapter.
True.
It's the one that ends on a, oh my god, everything is screwed note.
Yeah, but they don't change the main character to somebody else.
No, but you still chopped off Luke's hand.
Yeah, but you still didn't change the character.
And you did change him. You change him a lot. By telling him that Darth Vader is his dad, you change that character
physically,
a lot.
You did not change him from white to black.
True.
I think that's going to be huge. Oh my God, it's not Steve Rogers anymore? Oh my God, my world's going to die. I mean, that's what I think is the general public's not ready for. Until they get more informed, which they are. Don't get me wrong. Since we started Fanboys Inc. just over 2 years ago, the general public is turning into, fanboys. They are not the hardcore fanboys, but they're, fanboys in trainings, the prospects, as you might say, and they're getting more aware. But I think that this might be a little too much for them. Just like Miles Morales being the next Spider-Man.
I could see ways that it would very easily work in the movies. I mean, you set yourself up for a great dynamic in Captain America 3 where you would have two people contending for the shield who were fighting each other in the last movie.
Well, I think if anybody's going to get the shield and he signed a 9-picture movie deal, it's going to be Winter Soldier. It's not going to be Falcon.
Well, and maybe it's those two going back and forth.
Could be. Yeah, it could be anything. I mean, I want to give the general public a lot of credit, and which I do. And I think, and some people give me crap for it, that I'm giving them too much credit. I'm sorry, they're being well informed. How can they not? Even if you don't read a comic, you're on Facebook, you're online, you're on TV. I mean, shit, The View, the Colbert Report, you're going to get it. You're going to get it in magazines, Entertainment Weekly, CNN, Hollywood Reporter, TMZ. Anywhere you look, there's something Marvel at least 2 or 3 times a week in your face.
Well, think about this. If we're talking about those connections, Avengers 2 will come out right near the end of Season 2 of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Correct.
Just like Captain America 2 came out near the end of Season 1.
Yep.
How better to screw with Coulson, who's going to be spending all of this next season basically building a new S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yep.
How better to screw with him at the end of Season 2?
Get rid of his favorite hero?
Exactly. Captain America is dead.
Yeah, that could be.
How does Coulson react when Captain America dies?
Well, people, you heard it here first. No one else has ever said this, and this is pure speculation. Josh Epstein, Captain America dead, Avengers 2.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
As we wrap this up, guys, we'd love to hear your thoughts. You can tweet us at Fanboys Inc. and you can also hit us up at Facebook.com/Fanboys Inc. Tell us what you think about these. Do you think that these major moves all at once are great for Marvel? Is it just shock value? Is it just marketing, a marketing ploy? Are we going to get some great stories out of this? Josh and I both, I think, have read on the forums, good and bad. Obviously, the racist, I'm not wasting my time. I'm not going to promote more racist BS on our podcast because I have no time for that. As far as Lady Thor and Iron Man and the Avengers, we've seen, people, true fanboys. Some that, just hate and spew and with no credibility. Others giving us some great information of why this might not be working, why they're afraid this isn't happening. We'd like to hear what you guys think. Do you think this is going to be great for the industry as a whole? I mean, these moves don't necessarily affect Marvel. This is so big that this could affect decisions in DC and some the other big companies. I really do see this shakeup affecting how other companies are going to do. I know DC, I'll tell you right now, I know Marvel buys almost every DC book every week. Every week they watch DC books, and they have them in their studios. I know they watch them. I know DC does the same thing. So we're going to possibly maybe see a change in the industry as a whole, which we did not touch on tonight, and we just wanted to focus on Marvel.
Well, heck, DC's got a black Superman right now.
Yeah, I mean...
Who's a great character, by the way.
Right.
Just side note, if people aren't picking up Earth 2, which I know I've talked a lot of smack on,
I love Earth 2.
Since James Robinson got kicked off, but Val-Zod is a great character. Great character.
Agreed. And people are bitching. All right, the diversity and the shock value is over. Not shocking anymore, and I kind of tend to agree. You've proved your point. Not that I'm saying that it's not wrong to change the color or race of a hero. I'm not saying that, but the shock value is gone. It is what it is. I want to see a great story, not just a shock value. Hey, he's black, or he's a different nationality. If I get a great story, fine, it works. Not just to throw it in there. Yes, I'd love to hear what you guys think. Fanboy on Twitter at Fanboys Inc. Facebook.com/Fanboys Inc. Also, check out some of the articles we talked about tonight over at FanboysInc.com. Joshua Lazarus has been doing a great job throwing out all the Marvel details, and look at Cody Munge, some great reviews out there. And you know what? I got to give a special thanks to Mucka. That man is pumping out some serious crap. I mean, some awesome articles coming out. That man has not missed a beat in weeks. Just great. And he's our movie writer. He's doing such a great job. And Mucka, if you're listening, DW is giving you 2 thumbs up. I'd give you 4 thumbs up if I had 2 more. But guys, check out those articles over there. You guys are doing great. And as always, the guys over at cablescrusader.org never miss a beat. Some great stuff going over there.
Oh gosh, I know. Like Alicia Sanchez has been absolutely killing it doing indie news for us.
Guys we're knocking it out of the park.
Austin Gordon's weekly column on Comic Market is how I can come to you and say, no, we know, we look at the numbers. Marvel is killing it on a monthly basis. I really couldn't be happier with how everybody's been doing. We've had Mike Sains back now for about a week, and the review crew has been getting back on track, and they've just been doing some phenomenal work.
And this is our shameless plug time right now.
Cody Mudge, man, like I don't know when that dude sleeps. Like between writing news, writing reviews, like the dude just must live in front of a keyboard.
Well, he knows what it is to be us.
Yep.
Because you and I are living in front of the keyboard. But guys, if you haven't yet, you listen to this podcast, or you listen to Inkcast, you listen to RSRG, check out our articles, man. I mean, a lot of Inkcast now is the information I'm getting from my staff, and it's great stuff. So check that out. Definitely go over and check those articles out. And we want your comments. And in saying that, we are also on Stitcher and iTunes. We love the reviews. If you don't want to give us a review, give us a star rating. I don't care if it's 1 star. I don't care. Give us something. Go over to iTunes, subscribe to us, give us a star rating. You want to leave a review? By all means. You want to leave me a bad review? Leave me a bad review. Maybe we need to fix something. I have no problem with that. You don't like the way the format is on any of the shows on Fanboys Inc. You want us to change it up? We'll do it like Marvel. We'll change some shit up. Leave us a review. Also on Stitcher. Stitcher's great. Multiple platforms. iTunes, obviously, for your iPhone. Stitcher works on iPhone, works on your Android. Also, you can listen to it on your PC. And all of our shows are on there, on Stitcher as well. So check them out. It's a free app. We get reviews on there as well. Help us stay on the air. It would be great. Also, one last plug before we give out our call signs. Again, new artist RG will be out tomorrow. Out every Monday. Also, Inkcast out every Wednesday, and we will try to stay on track out every Thursday in Infinite Crossover. Like I said, we got a lot. I got a lot going on.
We've got some good stuff in the pipeline.
Yes,
some guests about wanting to come on and do some interviews with us. Yeah, we've got some really. I don't want to tease too much, but one of my favorite voice actresses has talked with me on Twitter about being willing to come on and do an interview.
What?
Oh, we'll talk.
Okay. God damn it.
And also a couple of really cool writers with some awesome series have said they want to come on and chat with us. So we're gonna be getting to it.
And like I said, you can contact us or give us your comments over on Twitter at Fanboys Inc. Facebook.com/Fanboys Inc. Where can they send you those lovely hate mail letters, Josh?
If you want to tell me that I am bent on the takeover of America by minorities and Muslim fascists, you can come find me on Twitter. I'm at Crusader06. That's ZERO6. You can always leave those comments on the Facebook posts for anything that we do over on cablescrusader.org. Twitter is usually the best place to find me with the weird hours that I keep. Most of my friends lately that I've been talking with on there have been like Australian.
Because it's the middle of the day for them.
Yeah, exactly. I wind up going to sleep at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, and someone's like, "Thanks for the great ride home chat." I'm like, "Oh my god." But yeah, please leave us comments. Read the articles. It really helps. And a shameless plug, if you want to help us keep all this going, if you see something on one of the ads that you seem to be halfway interested in, give it a click, take a look, and maybe get us paid a little bit, because that would be great.
Yes, that would definitely help us stay on the air.
So, but this was a lot of fun. I miss doing this, man. We definitely
got to get back on schedule. Well, like I said, I apologize, fans. It's just a lot of stuff going back on. I think my role is going to change a little bit within the company. There's a lot of things going on in the background, so I got to do a lot of juggling. But as always, thank you so much for listening to Infinite Crossover out every Thursday. Hopefully, we're crossing our fingers on this, and we'll keep everything going for you guys. As always, please send us off.
I will encourage you to remove your racial blinders and go read something.
Peace.